And let me see. Showing the Skype right there. It's got well, this live stream is definitely going to be a little bit bootsy because it has I guess I can delete that though, actually. Now I'm thinking about it. I have information up from the last recording I did of the Talking Rocks podcast.
Oh.
There we go. Host scene, guest scene. Looks like everything's working. We got 2 viewers in the live stream right now, it says, but that might be one me, and I'm not sure who else it is. Got Thomas Belanthi. Hello, Thomas. How you doing, my man? Let me push the screen live so we can both be on the screen there. D.
Okay.
There we go. Now we're both on the screen. You're the large scene. I'm the small scene. I think I'm not sure. That's just because that's the way I had it set up when I was doing the Talking Rocks podcast, which, you know, I have 3 of those recorded, but I need to get them. I need to get the website has been slowing me down. I've needed to get the website up and running, and I haven't gotten the website up and running, and that's why I haven't posted any of those videos. And now I'm so bad at building websites. Everything I build, when I start to build stuff, I spend like a day on the stuff, and then when I'm done, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, this is so subpar, it looks childish. So I keep not doing much, but throwing away what I do and then not working on it for a while again. And I need to stop doing that, to tell you the truth. Thomas is here, and Modern Prospector's in the live stream room. How you doing, Modern Prospector? We got D here. You guys that are in my live streams pretty often, you guys know D. She's usually talking to you guys a lot. D Wampler. She's a friend of the channel, as some people like to say on their live streams. We got 5 people in the room.
Hi, everybody.
I'm typing the whole say something so I know you're in the room. And like always, I mistyped something. There's always, this time I had 2 M's in it.
Hi, Thomas.
And I'm actually surprised that all of this is working. Misty's in the room. Hey, Misty. I'm actually surprised this is working as well as it is right now. When I had this idea earlier and I expected to set it up, I thought I would be talking to D via Skype through my other computer. And I have this HDMI splitter, which I would show you, but I threw it in the trash can. And it didn't plug in. I bought this thing like 2 years ago and I never used it. And it was brand new in the box. And I opened the box today and I tried to set it up and tried to use it, and it didn't work. Didn't power on. It didn't power on at all. So that whole idea was out the window, and I panicked and I tried to set everything up on this computer. And hey, amazingly, I have, a video, I don't even know what XSplit broadcaster would be. A broadcasting software, I guess, is what it is. And the studio from YouTube running along with Skype all at the same time, and it's working. So what do you know? Something to be said for having a good computer. We got, is that it? Doesn't Magellan have an O? So that's Mogollon Treasure Hunters. Hey, Mogollon Treasure Hunters. And Robert Gagliotti, which that's really close to my wife's family's name, which is Gugliotta. And Anita's in the room. What up, Anita Phillips? How you doing? So if you guys don't have one already and you want to have an opportunity to chat, because I'm probably not going to do this any longer than 10 p.m., which my time, which is like 2 hours. I've been going to bed at like 10 p.m. and getting up. This morning I got up at like 4:30. So staying up late is hard when you're getting up at like 4:30. Make sure that you sign up for Skype if you haven't already. You need to have a computer or a phone that has the ability to actually like do a video call with some sort of quality, and you need an internet connection that can do a video call with some sort of quality, because if you don't have a good internet connection, it's not going to work. Then I'm probably not going to do it. But I'm not sure what I'm doing. This is sort of a fly by the hip. Let's chat. Have the have the normal room and the typing chat that we have. At the same time, I'll Skype with some people and we'll see how that works. Like I said earlier in this stream, I have done I've shot 3 episodes of Talking Rocks podcast with 3 really awesome people, and they are for the most part edited, but they're not quite done. I need to get them out of the can and into the world, but I've been procrastinating that one way too long, to tell you the truth. So I think I'm going to work all day tomorrow and make sure I get one of them done completely and off into a new YouTube channel and onto the podcasting software that I've been looking at, Podbean. And so you guys should have some clips of that on this channel and some access to the full, like, I think it's about a 2-hour conversation. We had some technical difficulties with the computer, but I apparently have those all the damn time because I'm bad with software. So
Oh, Thomas says the picture quality's great.
hey, I like to hear that. Everybody likes to hear that. Everybody who's watching, because I'm glad the picture quality is good. I'm that makes me happy that we have a good signal right now, because the last few times I've tried to do live streams, they've been horrible, according to the people watching it. Yeah, I'm reading the chat too. So why don't we just start off with having a conversation though, D? How did you how'd you get into rocks and stuff like that?
Well, my husband and I are gold prospectors. And so we went to Alaska last year. And on the way up there, I said, we can stop and look for sapphires. That sounds fun. So we stopped, did the sapphire thing, which was great. We got some really pretty sapphires. And then we went on up to Alaska, and he said, well, you know what? We could look for agates. So we went down to Saldaman, looked for some agates and stuff. Then we were coming back, and it was about September, and it's still hot in Texas. And I said, well, you know what? Let's go look for some opals. So we flung up to the Virgin Valley and looked for some opals, found some real pretty ones. And then we decided, well, you know what? I think that we should go look for sunstones. So we ran over and did sunstones. To make a long story short, I started watching Coleco, and I thought, holy cow, I can find that stuff. So we started doing that. And then when I saw fire agates, it was all over. Fire agates are my love.
So how long ago was that? Was like your first adventure going for agates and stuff, or even gold? Like, how long have you guys been hunting for gold?
We've been hunting for gold for about 6 or 7 years, the two of us. Now, he's been hunting for gold since we were married, which has been like 40 years.
Oh, so he never found anything, or he only got like little flakes and stuff?
No, he didn't find anything.
For like 40 years, really? I think you're just being mean to your husband right now. I have a hard time believing anybody can hunt for gold for 40 years and not find anything at all.
He seriously did it until we went to Alaska the first time. And then he found some. We were both.
I used to live in Alaska. I lived for a couple of years in North Pole, Alaska, and Fairbanks, Alaska. And there's plenty of gold up there. If you can't find gold in Alaska, then you're really bad at hunting for gold, because there is gold in Alaska, that's for sure. You can pretty much dip a pan on any river in Alaska and at least get a flake. I mean, at least get a little piece to where you know it's there. It might not be enough to make your day worth it, but there's a lot of gold in Alaska. We did a little bit of panning when I was a kid up there, and we did a lot of salmon fishing. I was up there for 2 salmon fishing seasons, and so we did a lot of salmon fishing when I was up there.
Yeah. Well, and it's easier to find gold in Alaska, but there's not a lot of places in the States that you can go and really find gold. We found a few places that you can find rocks a lot easier than you can find gold. So,
yeah, you think that people that found really good amounts of gold, or basically any gold that was worth it, pretty much claimed up that area and made sure you're not supposed to be digging there. So
exactly right. And that's a long drive when you go to Alaska.
Yeah. Wait, let me go back up, and he said how to pronounce his name earlier, but it was really weird how he said to pronounce his name. Let me see if I can find it here again in the chat. Why am I not seeing it? I must be scanning over it or something. Anyways, Magallan says GPAA is only $150 to join. Gold Prospectors Association of America. You get legal access to over 500 different gold claims. See how he slipped a commercial in there already?
Yes, and he's right. You do. And it's wonderful, but there still isn't much gold on their claims.
And that's something that I've heard. Like, have you ever done any of those things before?
We have.
And what was your experience? Who did you do one of those group? I don't know what you would call it. It's almost like a timeshare. I mean, it's cheaper than a timeshare, but it's almost like a timeshare for gold hunting is almost what they're like. Like, you're paying a fee to get access to all of this corporate companies' mining claims, to camp on them, and then you still have to pay like some sort of dues or a camping fee or something like that. There are usually other fees involved when you go and spend a week at one of these places beyond your $150, original thing. What was your experience with a place like that, and who did you go with?
But we've done the GPAA.
Oh, it was GPAA, so it's exactly who he's talking about and who I get emails from all the damn time.
Yeah. Now, in the States, they're not very good. But the one that is up at north of Fairbanks in Alaska.
The one Alaska claim, that's the one.
That's the one to go to. But they're very nice. You can go stay, and you don't have to pay any extra or anything. But that's why they gave the claims to the GPAA, in my opinion. If they had gold on them, they wouldn't let all of us go out there and find them.
Anita Phillips found it. It was Malgayon. That is a very Malgayon. That's not how it's spelled. It's spelled Magallan. But anyways, what?
AU Prospector says you can find massive gold on California for free. You know where to look.
Now I did see that, and like the first episode of Talking Rocks will end up being with Jeff Williams, because we've already recorded that episode. Like, he would tell you, yes, you can find gold on public land that you're not even allowed to claim. At the same time, like we were talking about with a GPAA, I've talked to like 3 different people who have been members of that, and they said the same thing you did, but I'm pretty sure none of them ever went to Alaska. But all of them pretty much told me stories about, how much work they'd put in, how little they got, and it was basically like, going to a salted bag mine and buying a $50 bag that says it's going to have gold in it. So you find like $10 of gold for $50, like that's pretty much what was explained to me about GPAA. Yet, they're running a business. That's, the name of the business is giving people the opportunity to possibly find a big nugget. Yet I don't personally know anybody that has found anything big with that company, but I only know a couple of people in my whole life I've met that have any contact with them. So.
Yeah. Well, it's just fun getting out. It's kind of like hunting rocks on the public land in Arizona. We've gone there to the BLM land, and it's fun. And you find a lot of chalcedony, and you find a lot of rocks. They may not have the fire in them, but it's a good day out.
Oh, you're talking about like Saddle Mountain and Round Mountain and Black Mountain.
Absolutely.
Well, I really wish I still had the episode where I was testing out the whole doing the Talking Rocks thing, and I had a conversation with my friend Eric, because Eric has a really good method for finding the source of a mineral when you're out hunting that mineral on in the desert and stuff. And his method sounds very logical to me, even though I've never done it before. But most people that go out to Round Mountain and Saddle Mountain, and Black Mountain, they don't know how to source the area of the agate they're finding. Like if they're finding stuff up on the surface, there are tricks that people who are really good at digging for minerals have found to try and locate it underneath the surface so they can locate a lot, and or really good pieces or hit a vein, because you're really not going to find a vein of fire agate sitting above the ground in a public area. It's just not, it's not going to happen. Sort of like we're at this day and age, you're not going to go out to the public sunstone area and go out to go pee at 5 o'clock in the morning and kick over a 300 carat green sunstone. It's just not going to happen now. Those sunstones are gone. Like the same thing with the fire agate at those 3 locations. If you really want to find something good, you're probably going to have to spend the time to actually locate a vein of agate in the ground and dig it and break it out. And then you might find something amazing. I have seen both Saddle Mountain and Round Mountain pieces of fire agate that look beautiful and are top grade gem quality. Yet one from each of those locations. And I've seen hundreds or thousands of brown pieces of agate that people are like, look at this amazing thing with all these colors, and all I see is a brown piece of fire agate rough. Not saying it doesn't have those colors in it, but it still has to be exposed, put you in doubt on what kind of color it is and what grade it is and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we have probably 3 5-gallon buckets full of chalcedony and what we thought was good fire agate the first trip out. And I would say it's all going to go in the garden.
Because when you're out there and you're grabbing agate and it's all over the ground, you're like, oh, this is great and that's great. And then once you have a good understanding of the agate you have, and you're like, oh my God, I spent all that time to carry all this stuff and there's probably no color in any of this. Well, that's exactly what I was going to go to for the people that are listening right now. Is that I was going to ask you, explain to people how you basically found out what good fire agate is in the rough, as opposed to what, fire agate that probably doesn't have any color in it is in the rough when you went to Deer Creek and did your dig out there. Like, go ahead and why don't you explain that whole adventure?
Oh, that was so much fun. We went out, and Dave Kenny is the owner of the mine, and we decided we were going to get 2 hours, which that was just like on my bucket list of the best place in the world to be able to go. And so we went out there, and he's great. And they do an hourly rate, and they have a trommel. And so he's blown up all of this rock, where the agate is and stuff. And he's had some of this stuff sitting out there for 20 or 30 years. And once it gets exposed, the native rock will disintegrate. And so what he did was he just had big old piles of it. And then he's got a loader, and he gets a stand next to this trommel, and then there's a conveyor belt that goes by. Now you can have up to 5 people. And of course, it was just my husband and I. So we hired 3 other people from the mine, and they helped us pick out fire agate. And all of a sudden, all these rocks come down, and you can see blues and purples and reds and yellows and golds, and you're just like squealing. And oh, that's gorgeous! Oh, that's gorgeous! So you spend 2 hours, or we spent 2 hours picking rocks up off of the conveyor belt, and it is just awesome because it's mostly all exposed. So when you're going by, and of course, like I said, we had 3 of the people picking with us, and they just pick up this beautiful chunk that looked like grapes and hand it over to you and go, here you go, this one's a good one. And we came home with, I think, 7 5-gallon buckets of fire agate and chalcedony, and we kind of sorted it. And I would say that probably, I don't know, maybe 10% of it is excellent, that you can see the fire and you can see the colors beside it. There's probably 50% of it that you can see, it's got a possibility. And then there's probably 20% of it that's just chalcedony and probably nothing else. And I guess maybe I can show you. Let me see if I can turn this. Let me see. Hang on.
Well,
I did.
if you turn the phone up and down, then it's going to change the video for us to where it's like, you know, a small rectangle screen instead of being the whole screen. So whatever you do when you point the phone, just make sure you don't put it up and down. You keep it sideways.
Sideways?
Yep.
See if you can see this pile of rocks.
Yep, we can see buckets, 5-gallon buckets of rocks. So let's say you went out there and you spent $2,000 for your hour to use the conveyor belt out at Dave Penny's fire agate mine. How many 5-gallon buckets did you come out of with fire agate in it?
Well, we had 7 full buckets.
7 full buckets for $2,000. That seems like a pretty fair deal to me. For what fire agate typically goes for, that's worth it. So far, or let's say, what's the biggest and best piece without any work on it that came out of there? Like, what piece did you guys find that just was already lit up with colors that you could see underneath the Cal Sydney caps?
Well, probably the best piece I had literally looks like a cluster of grapes, and it's got purple in it, and it's probably the size of a biscuit. So if you think about it,
So it's like that big.
There you go.
It's like a cutie orange size.
Yes, and there's no Cal Sydney on it at all. It's just got the clusters of grapes over the top of it. So it's gorgeous.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, we've got several other pieces too that are in that special bucket that I'm not going to touch until I can.
Until you're good at carving agate.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it. Keep a bucket of the special stuff, because when you're just learning, you will rip through that and ruin so many amazing colors. I know, because I have done that.
Yes. So, but I think it's a great place to go. And if you get a group of people, it becomes more reasonable to go. Because like I said, you can take 5 people.
Yeah.
So everybody pitches in a couple $100, and you come out with a lot of fire agate.
Yeah. The only way I found to even contact Dave Penny about any of that stuff, or to actually go out to his claim, is to be on one of the fire agate groups in Facebook. Because until I was in all the fire agate groups on Facebook, I had been trying to get in touch with Dave Penny about going out there, and nothing I had done had worked. Like contacting the people that had put up the YouTube videos about being at his claim, so like none of that stuff even worked. And then all of a sudden I'm in a couple of fire agate groups on Facebook, and I start seeing a woman advertising those, and the different prices for how you purchase it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We got 13 people in the room. I'm pretty surprised that we've kept that many that long, since we're just chatting about rocks, to tell you the truth. Going through the chat, it seems like the chat hasn't been actually flowing as much as I thought it would be. It was flowing there for a little while, and then it sort of slowed down, and everybody's listening to us instead of chatting back and forth between them. They were talking about the GP, or not the GPAA. That was us that was talking about. They started talking about the AMRA, the American Miners' Rights Association. Do you know anything about them? American Mining's Rights Association is a guy, Shannon Poe. I believe his name is Shannon. I might be screwing up his first name, but Shannon Poe, I think his name is. And he is like the guy to contact if you're having problems with your mining claim and the judicial system in general. I say the judicial system, but really I mean Forestry Service, BLM, the usual suspects of the people that try and make it to where you can't get to your mining claim for some reason, or make it to where you can't mine your claim for some reason. It's typically them. And basically, the guy is an encyclopedia for what you're supposed to be able to do, what types of laws have been passed to keep you from doing things. The majority of the stuff I've seen AMRA post anywhere, I usually agree with. Some of their political views I don't agree with, just like some of your political views I don't agree with. D, we've had that conversation before. some of their like they're. I have this problem when it comes to political things and political situations, and that just because a politician believes one thing that I believe in doesn't mean I'm going to back them. And you know what I mean? And so for some of these guys, I think they were like, oh yeah, Trump's going to help us because he's all for mining. And it's like, yeah, he was getting money from big coal. It's not the same thing. Like that's the way I saw it, you know, like, I mean, when all that stuff was going on with in the beginning with him getting elected, or right about the time he was going to get elected, and it was like coal miners for Trump and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, you guys are going to get screwed at the end of this, because he's not bringing any of your jobs back. And I mean, that's the reality of it, is that they're going to find a way to get more rock out of the ground using less humans and more machines, because more machines don't die as fast and they can pull out more stones. I mean, that's just that's the reality of it. That's what ended up happening too. You know, regardless of everything else that's happened, you go and talk to some of those coal miners, they're like, yep, still ain't got a job. Like, so.
Hey, by the way, did you watch last night all the riots?
Yes, I was wondering how long it'd be before that actually got brought up if I didn't say anything. Did you? Yeah, it was awful. I have a messed up view of this whole thing, though. I have the view of somebody that grew up in bad neighborhoods where I got beat up plenty by police officers, that for no reason, me and a friend would be walking down the street, and I grew up in, you know, the horrible sections of LA and the horrible sections of Sacramento, and the horrible sections of Portland, Oregon when I was a kid. And me and a friend would be walking down the street, and a police cruiser would roll up on us, and not slow. When I say roll up on us, they would like pull up on us fast, like they were going to run us over and going to a screeching halt. And then we would run, because that's what you did in these neighborhoods. When the cops pulled up on you, everybody ran but like one kid. That's like how it happened. And the cops would chase a couple of us down, and then they would beat the crap out of us. And I mean, this happened to me multiple times in my life. I've had 2 times in my whole life can I think about where I've had interactions with police officers where the fucking police officer acted like a human being. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't just some authoritarian asshole that just wanted to make my life more difficult. Because 90% of the interactions I've ever had, and I've probably had 200 interactions with police officers in my whole life, they've all been authoritarian, wanting to do damage to somebody's life because they can. Like, yes, there were times where they were needed, and a lot of times there were times where they weren't needed and they were making things worse with their presence. And so my view of this is not like from somebody who's had a really nice life that's never had negative police interactions. My view is from these hood kids that have been getting kicked in the teeth by cops that don't care, like a cop that will kneel on a man's neck that was not fighting back against him, that has people pleading for his life, where he's saying he's going to die and he can't breathe. And with dead eyes, that cop does everything but laugh in everybody's face. I mean, he just basically lets it happen, ignores what people are saying to him, and his buddies, what's the word? They allow it to happen by basically enabling the situation. They're not stopping anything. Nobody's like, hey man, don't you think that's enough? Like, nobody steps up that's in a blue uniform ever. So I mean, it's just it's horrible. It's a horrible situation. No, I don't think people should be, breaking into black owned, anybody owned small businesses and stuff like that. Yet when the shit goes down, this is what happens. And when you start talking about Target, and you start talking about Walmart, and you start talking about these big corporations that get hit by these mobs, one of the reasons these big corporations get hit by these mobs is because they take advantage of these low income scenarios that are going on. They keep people working at their jobs that are making slave wages, that have no ability to get out of a situation because of the amount of money they're making just makes it to where they can make it from this week to next and hopefully still have money to eat. You know what I mean? Like, that's it's not like they're doing a whole lot for their community besides just basically selling them products and making a profit off of them and basically putting them to work for as cheap as possible. I'm not saying that would change anything when this shit goes down, but in those scenarios and these scenarios, I tend to see it from the side of the other side. Yet I wouldn't be one of the people running into to one of those stores. I wouldn't be one of the people, you know, breaking windows and trying to take gemstones and stuff like that, because it's just not me. I mean,
well, and I think that's what's so sad, because they had the protesters, which is great. I mean, that's part of what America's all about, is the fact that you get to go protest. The thing that I found sad was it wasn't the protesters that were doing all the looting and the rioting and all that kind of stuff. You could tell it was people that came out after dark going hot diggity dog. Now I get to go throw stuff. I get to go beat up people. And that's sad. In fact, there was a lady in New York, and she happened to be a black lady. Doesn't matter, but that's what she was. And she had on her nurse's outfit and, you know, scrubs. And she was standing in between the line of police and the protesters. And things were starting to get really bad. I mean, they were throwing bottles of water and Molotov cocktails and all of that stuff was going on. And you could tell people were going to get hurt. And that lady stood up between those two and said, "We're better than this. This is not what we're going to do. We can protest, but rioting and breaking up our neighborhood is not helping anybody." And I thought, man, if there were more people like that, this crap wouldn't be happening. So it was kind of good to see that.
I don't know if there's more people like that. This stuff wouldn't be happening. I mean, she's out in the middle of it, and she might not be rioting, but she's out there protesting. And the whole problem is that police are above the law. Like, that's the issue. It's that I shared a meme on my Facebook, which I could probably actually put on the screen if I really wanted to. I shared a meme on my Facebook, which basically talked about, you know, recently we've had, it says an Asian police officer stands by while a white police officer kneels on a black man to death. A white female officer kills a black man. A black officer kills a white woman. And it's basically all these races of officers that are killing people that are of different races. And the whole point is that it's not about race right now. It's about the fact that somebody with a badge feels like they are completely and totally above you and above me. And if we step out of line in any way, our life can be forfeit. If you run from them, your life can be forfeit. Like, they are the judge, jury, and executioner, as long as you can give even the smallest reason that they can be excused by the people that they work for. Because, I mean, the reality is that except for this cop being arrested, almost every single one of those other instances that has happened recently, let me rephrase that, almost every single instance of a cop killing a civilian in history, there's never been a charge against them. I mean, I don't even have to be nice about it. That's literally how it's been. It doesn't matter how out of bounds it is. The only reason that this is happening now to where these people are rioting is because there's video cameras. Because you take the same exact circumstances that happened recently, you rewind it 20 years and nothing fucking happens. The only reason that everybody got pissed off about Rodney King is because there was a video camera on it. But how many hundreds of thousands of times has it happened without there being a video camera on it?
And I agree. I think that's what the problem is, because I think you have police officers that are just like in every other walk of life, that you have police officers that think the world owes them and they're better than everybody else. And they have more power over everybody else. And that's just not right.
That's the majority of them. In my experience, though, that's the majority of police officers. That's not the minority. Like, people like what Trump said in his address just the other day, where he was like, "Oh, we have this small bit of bad officers polluting it," and that's not what it is. We have a horrible society inside of our police officers. It's the societal aspect of being a police officer of you can never be wrong and you can never be questioned, or the person doing the questioning can basically be beaten to death, handcuffed, and die in his cell. We as citizens are all being expected to take responsibility for every situation that happens that has us involved with it. And yet police officers are being expected to take no responsibility when they have full control of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all I can say is I am so glad we're not rioting in Rockport, Texas. I can still
Rockport, Texas is like the size of a dime, though. So, I mean, the problem is your demographic is if you don't have a real downtown with a high rise in it, it's not going to happen. Like that's not yet because of this whole thing and because of how many of these instances that have happened, especially in like the last just 2 years, just the amount of this type of circumstance that are happening in the last 2 years, it makes it to where the lower class, which the lowest class that we have in this country, has been growing by leaps and bounds because the middle class is joining the lower class. Like that's exactly what's happening. We're losing the middle class. They're turning into the lower class. Very few people are getting their head above water right now to where it's like they're completely comfortable and they can go and vacation in a vacation home for 3 months out of the year if they want to. That demographic of Americans is getting smaller and smaller as the years go by, which means that more people are susceptible to those sort of situations, because if you live in a very rich neighborhood, you have very little police contact. Yet if you live in a lower class neighborhood, you have way more police contact. I don't need to look at any paperwork on any math that has talked to anybody to know this. I know this just from my own personal experience of growing up in the hood, and then for the last almost 20 years living in upper class neighborhoods, $300,000 homes and stuff like that. In California, $300,000 home might be a hovel, but in the rest of the fucking country, it's an amazing house with Venetian walls and tile floors and showers that have 3 heads and crap. Like that's what you get for $300,000 in most of the country in a house. Like I know in California you get a bathroom with a closet and a 1-burner stove, but there has to be repercussions for these police officers. This shit can't happen anymore because information travels too fast. Everybody has a snitch in their pocket, and the people are tired of needing to fear from the people that we're supposed to be able to trust. I mean, it's really that freaking simple. They need to stop teaching them that they can abuse and hurt the people that they are supposed to be serving and protecting. So we were supposed to be talking about rocks, and you wanted to go all hard on the politics right out the fucking gate.
Well, I just saw that on TV, and I was like, holy crap. But on the note of rocks, maybe I can show you one that I've been working on.
Well, just to go back to those politics one time real quick. The funniest thing I saw on Facebook in the last 2 years was a meme. As soon as I got up this morning, it was like 4:30 when I first woke up this morning and looked at my phone, and it said, apparently you have to burn down a police station to get shit done in this country. And I thought that was hilarious because that's exactly what happened until they lit the city on fire and they burned a police station down. That dude was never in handcuffs. The police station's on fire. Like, maybe we should arrest him. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's arrest his ass.
That's exactly right. Okay, let's see if you can see this.
Go move down. There you go, right there. Stop. Oh yeah, that fire, it's got lots of good green in it showing up right now. Back up just a little bit. Your camera's having problem focusing. Yeah, right about there. Yeah, that fire, it's got amazing green in it.
That was a good one.
Yeah. It's not done yet, is it? It's wet right now, isn't it?
No, it's just wet.
Yeah, it's wet. It's not finished yet. What did you grind on it with? Was that a 325 it's at right now, or an 80?
It's at a 325 right now.
Good, because you expose that color with an 80. Most of that color is going to be gone when you get to your polish.
I know it. Let's see if you can see this one. Okay.
Yeah. Back up a little bit. You're getting too close. There, right there. See, your camera's having problems focusing because it's on your phone, right? And you can see the screen.
Yeah, it's
then
the iPad.
Well, no. Well, what that? Your iPad has a camera on the screen side and the other side, right?
Yeah.
The screen side is about half as good as the other side. The front side has an amazing camera, but then you couldn't see the screen. And you couldn't see my beautiful face. But yeah, that's a cool looking little fire agate. Bye, Kelly. Sorry to upset you. We were just having some conversations, chatting about whatever. And after I get off this call with D, which I don't think we're going to talk for 2 hours, to tell you the truth, if anybody on the in the chat room, if anybody watching of the 18 people we got here right now wants to be the next person to have a chat with me, you have to have a Skype account. And I can totally call you on Skype. And I think I can call you on Skype. And I can put you on after we have this conversation with D. We were going good for a minute, and then she had to ruin it talking about the the people rioting all over the country because the cops can kill people. I mean, that's the reality of it. It sucks, but that's the way it is. Raw Dog Pendants is in the room. We got Thomas Belliantine in the room. I put a that wasn't supposed to be there. Triniton. That's a fire agate.
Yeah.
Tilt it. Tilt.
This one came completely like that out of the ground.
Yeah. You can see a little bit of green in it. Mainly it looks bronze and brown. But it's probably because you don't have any light facing you.
Absolutely, and I haven't worked on it at all. But you can see a lot of bronze down in it. So, you've taught me a lot.
I mean, how much of that green was exposed when you first started carving on that first stone you showed? Was it green like that when you started? It started off being white and brown, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the thing that when people are buying fire agate rough that they don't really understand is that you really need to be buying your rough as opposed to its location and the person you're buying it from. That's where your money needs to be spent. You need to be purchasing from the right person. Because you can have a bucket of stuff that looks like it might have color from a poor location, and the colors in it are not going to be that great. Yet you get some Slaughter Mountain, some Opal Hill, or some Deer Creek, and it has the right ear markings and no colors on top, and you carve into it, and you're like, bang! There's lots of colors.
That's right. Some of that I got from you originally, because I got my first fire agate that was worth carving from you. And it was just spectacular. So I really liked it.
Oh, you got your first fire agate carving from me?
Yeah, well, the first rough.
Oh, you bought your first rough from me before you ever went out to. Yeah, I remember when I sent you the jam, right?
Yeah.
So that was before you went out to Dave Penny's claim out at Deer Creek.
Yeah.
Well, it's not mine officially. Like, I have rights to go and dig there whenever I want from when I sold it to Chris Rose. But one, it's Chris Rose's, and two, the problem is the way the mine was left by the previous owners, that the BLM is acting like the overhang is dangerous and it could fall on somebody and crush them. But that's not happening. Like, it's hard basalt. It's not decaying basalt. It's hard basalt. It's not just going to fall down on anybody. It's just, it does look dangerous. In their defense, one rock, probably that big, falling off of the top of that hits you in the right place on the top of your head, and it could possibly kill you. You should have it hard head when you're in the main area. Yet, you're talking about like probably $50,000 to $60,000 to blow up that knoll, and it would all blow right into the main hole, and then you'd have to cart all of it off. And that's what I'm talking about. Not for the explosives, but for moving what you would end up being all of the overburden after you got rid of that overhang right there. And being that it's not really soft material that has any chance of just like eroding down on you or anything, like it should be fine. But the BLM's being a giant pain in the ass. There's pretty much nothing Chris Rose can do about it. So at this point, people are, pilfering the area, bringing tools out there they're not supposed to be using, taking what they can get. And my boys that go out there have told me that it's pretty much undiggable right now. My areas that I would keep clean and I was charging people to dig out while I was out there, they're undiggable right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Van Fam, how you doing, man? Sorry about that. I start doing shout outs.
Oh,
We got a lot of people here. We actually lost 5 people, yet I see a lot of people making comments in the chat who I didn't see earlier. It's good to see you too, Van Fam, although I don't know if I've ever actually seen you in person. What up, Lapidary Dave? How you doing, man? Me and Lapidary Dave are planning on doing a Talking Rocks episode, yet I had to cancel on him like freaking 4 times in a damn row. I mean, I canceled on this dude so many times. Things just sort of fell apart for me. And then right about when I started going back to work, I just stopped posting or doing any work on the YouTube channel at all. I just sort of stopped at the moment. And I have to get back on it, to tell you the truth. It's the damn website building. The website building has thrown me into a whole black hole of not being able to get anything done because what I'm doing is garbage, and I can see that it's garbage, but I can't do better. Like, that's so it's like I need to be able to pay somebody to do what I want. And I paid for something now that I feel is dumb, and I spent $100 on this one thing that, like, I'm going to end up using it at some point, but it's not really what I wanted, and I already spent the money. And I really should have spent that on, like, a Fiverr person to help me build my damn websites. What I should have done. Hey, Catfish, how you doing, man? Catfish saying hi to Dave. Ryan's here from Australia. What up, Ryan? I didn't even know you was in the room, man. Was meant to be coming on to Canada. Now I'm spending thousands on building a small house so I can live with my family. Much love to you. Thank you very much, Ryan. I appreciate that. Does that mean that you're staying in Australia, buddy? Are you staying in Australia? Is that what that means? Because you're not going to Canada? Are you? Yeah. Does anybody else want to get on and do a live chat with me? We have an hour and 15 minutes. Well, more like an hour. I have like an hour left. I'm not going to be able to hold my eyes open past 10 very much, and I have some dishes to do and a shower to take before I go to bed. So this live stream is working better than I had hoped. It's only had a couple of little hiccups and a couple of little glitches, but compared to some of the recordings I've done with recording the podcast, this has been seamless compared to some of the stuff I've had to edit out of the podcast that I've had problems with. Just like stuff's not working, and like I can hear people, but all of a sudden their cameras are black, or my camera goes black, and just weird different stuff.
Well, this has worked pretty well for an experimental thing.
Yeah, it definitely has. While you see me looking to the right because I'm reading the chat while I'm talking to you at the same time.
Yeah, I've been doing the same thing, and I keep thinking, well, people are going to think you're really stupid. So,
why are people going to think?
See this one.
Yeah, see, it would work better if you had a light that was facing your face while you're showing that to the camera, because there's no light bouncing off of the stone. So if you put a light like up against the wall or something facing directly at you, and then you have your camera, and then you're showing it, then it's going to see the color better. That first one you started with is a really bright stone that didn't really need a lot of light on it for it to show that green, which that's exactly what you want. You want your really top grade fire agate is going to show bright colors in all lights. And that's some's great, some's bad. Like, you can totally tell that's green, and it does help move it back a little bit right there. And it's because your phone is naturally focusing on your face, so you need to have it to where it's almost at the same focal point, and you can see great greens in that.
Well, that was another little piece that I thought was good. I just thought I'd show you a few of these little odds and ends.
Yeah, I mean, those are, when they have colors like that, that's the ones that, are worth the money.
Yeah. It just shows you what different ones you get, because that last one, got frogs probably as big around as my fist, and that's what came out of it.
And that happens sometimes. You will carve a giant piece of agate down to one little gemstone.
That's right.
Hey, Randy Goldman, how you doing, man? I do okay. How do you do? And Raw Dog Pendants came to our defense, although he can be really over the top and aggro sometimes. He came to our defense about what the problem is. We're never talking about the real issues. So bye, Kelly, because you're talking. We have to have conversations about the real issues. And I agree with him. I would say probably the biggest problem in my marriage is I could never have a fucking conversation about the real issues that actually went somewhere. So, when you can get people to actually have a meeting of the minds and actual agreements, the shit might change.
What makes me happy, because like you said, we talk about a lot of this crap a lot of times, and we do not agree on a lot of stuff.
Oh, when it comes to politically in general, yeah, but I'm starting to learn something about your generation is that once you become a fan of somebody, they can do a lot of bullshit and you'll still be a fan of them. Like they have to kill your fucking dog to get you to not love them anymore. Like you have to find them in the backyard with a bloody knife and your dog in their hands. You're like, oh my God, you're a bad person.
Even though we can disagree, we still like each other.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing that I like. When I look on Facebook or I see YouTube and everything, and it's the people that say, well, you're a fucking moron. Just because you don't agree with me does not make me a moron. It's just, we disagree.
Thanks, Raw Dog. I love you too. You're right about that, though. I mean, here's what I tell my kids, though. When you're like, you're a moron, I have a lot of people that I like that say stupid fucking shit on Facebook. And they don't even just say stupid shit. They share the dumbest things that have no logical sense behind them. Like, for instance, I have somebody that's on here a lot, actually, which I don't know if he'll see this live or not, but he shared this thing, which I've seen a lot of people, and at least 6 people on my Facebook have shared. That's like, oh, so many people die every day from heroin, and you don't see the news channels posting about that like they do COVID. And that's the dumbest thing ever, because you can't cough on somebody and get them high on heroin. You can't. You don't go around for a week sick on heroin, getting other people hooked on heroin without them having any signs of it for a week or two. That's not how heroin works. So the point where people start trying to draw lines between an affliction that you afflict upon yourself and something that you cannot know somebody has and they cannot know they have, and they can give it to you, it is insane. I mean, you remember the AIDS scare? You remember the AIDS scare, right?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if you could catch AIDS back then. Imagine this is 1984. And people are all scared about AIDS, and then they don't even know how people are actually getting it, but they know some people are getting it from having sex, but they don't know anything about it. Now imagine you can get that from somebody that doesn't know they're fucking sick just from touching the same door handle they did. Now do the multiplication on the freak out matter. You know what I mean? On how people would have freaked out back then if that would be how it was transmitted. And it completely changes the game. It makes it be like, oh, that's bad. No, holy shit, stay away from me.
Exactly. They came out and said, oh, gee, if you're over 65, you'll probably die. That kind of made me think.
Any pulmonary issues? Oh, have you been smoking your whole life? This is extra bad for smokers. I mean, geez, yeah. I mean, only say something that it's just not equatable. One thing is not equatable to another. One thing is bad, the other thing is bad. They're bad for different reasons, and they're different levels of bad. I almost feel like people that are posting stuff like that are like, so it's not that bad that I'm hooked on, fucking morphine or fucking heroin or the pills my doctor prescribed me for my knee that now I need 300 milligrams of a day or whatever. You know, you can tell I don't do that shit because I don't know what the fucking dosages would be. But my sister was hooked on that stuff for a long time. And it started with pills. It started with pills before it ever became a street drug addiction. And it's a horrible fucking thing. And people are afflicted by it. And it's not easy for them to get off it, but it's not the damn same thing as you can catch from random contact. It's just not the same thing. So yeah, I think they try to normalize it with those sort of memes and stuff like that. And to me, I'm like, you're saying stupid shit. And people get pissed off online. I'm like, hey, this is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen you share. You should probably delete it. And they want to fight for that side. And I'm like, no, you're a fucking dumbass right now because you want to draw the lines between somebody, probably not you, being hooked on fucking heroin and somebody getting coronavirus. And I'm sorry, you don't get that fucking sympathy. That doesn't happen. That's not how this world works. Not in my fucking world. It doesn't. There's no way. He's right, though. He says the first problem we have is Dems and reps. He's talking about Democrats and Republicans are two different sides of the same coin. It's a paradigm. We've gone from bad to worse while both have ran us into the ground. And that's legitimate. I mean, here's my problem is that I might like you like D, but if you identify as a Republican, you're part of the fucking problem. If you identify as a Democrat, you're part of the fucking problem. Like, this is the problem. You've bought into one of those stupid ass bullshit gangs. You're the Bloods and the fucking Crips, but of stupidity. Like, that's exact. Have you not noticed? Look at the fucking hardcore right. They're stand behind Alex Jones. Look at the hardcore left. They're behind a fucking 10-year-old fucking cross-dressing kid that's stripping for adult fucking men. Obviously, both the right and the left on the far sides are fucked up, and nobody should be listening to these people. Like, yeah, I love George Carlin, though. That man spoke some fucking truth. I'm telling you what, dude. Oh my God. It's hard not to agree with the late days of George Carlin. Now look at some of his early comedy, and he really wasn't that funny, but that man got old. He was fucking right and hysterical all at the same time. Randy Goldman says, but how to change? Fuck. People start taking responsibility for their shit. If we're going to spend $1 billion on going to war someplace, we should spend $1 billion on the education of our young people. People should not be absolutely required. Let me rephrase that. If we're going to take 35% from our working class, we should be able to support our elderly and our infirm. I mean, we should still have state hospitals. And I'm not saying that they should be the horrible abuse factories that some of the state hospitals were in the 10s and 20s and 30s and 40s, because I've gone to some of these places that are shut down now. I've seen some of these areas. Yes, they were turned into haunted houses, and that's why I was there. but I've seen the type of shit that like what these places were made and stuff like that. Yet at the same time, if you ever go and decide to do like what my great aunt does that I've helped her do a whole bunch of times, and feed the homeless, go feed the homeless for 6 weeks. You go feed the homeless for 6 weeks, and you see that about 30% of the homeless seriously need psychiatric help. They're on the streets because they have mental problems, and 30% of the homeless are fucking drug addicts, and the other 30% of the homeless, they're kids and elderly. Like, that's literally how it is. I've lived on the streets as a teenager. I've helped people, and I've had contact with these types of people my whole life, and there is a huge percentage of them that are fucking legitimately crazy, like schizophrenic, bro. Like, they have no ability to hold a fucking job. Like, there's no possibility for that shit at all. We should be taking care of those fucking people, because instead of taking care of those people, we spend billions and billions of dollars on fucking bombs and planes to go and fuck other people up, so we can at least take care of our people here. I mean, it's really simple on that one. fuck socialism, fuck the names of bullshit and capitalism and fuck communism and fuck those bullshit names. We have the ability, so we should be doing what's right. Like, we should be about what's right.
Exactly right.
Thomas Palenti says, I live better pharmaceutically, but not opioids, and I don't want to be hooked up to a ventilator. Me neither. I don't want to be hooked up to a ventilator either. Randy Goldman says, I'd vote for John Oliver for president. Dude, honestly, of all the people I've heard talk, I think we need to write in Joe Rogan. Like, we need to forcefully make Joe Rogan the president of the United States of America, because he can listen to both sides and pick the best path. I rarely disagree with this dude. Of all the things I've seen off of watching all of his shit, the thing I disagree with most is his ability to listen to people that are obviously full of shit. He will entertain people for too damn long. He needs to shut some of these fucking crackpots down. And I've seen him do it, but when he shuts a crackpot down, it's because their pot is so fucking cracked. There's no business dipping it in the water in the first fucking place. But these people that are sort of like this, he lets them go on way too long. But he's not right and he's not left. And he's not married to a fucking ideological fucking team. Like, he's about what's right, and he doesn't want the job. And those are the two biggest things for me that would make me want to vote for you. Is one, you don't want the fucking job, and two, you care about what's right most of the time, no matter what. Like, so for me, I think we need a president that doesn't want to be the president. I vote Joe Rogan. Congratulations. My sister got off of it. My oldest sister was hooked on it for a while, and she got on it because of her old man, and his mother had been on it for a long number of years. And she got out of the town she was on it on, and she moved to a small town with some other family of ours, and she got her way off of, and I should say, the methadone program, because she was on pills, she was on heroin, and then she was on the methadone program for a long number of years. And I had been telling her for years that she was not going to be able to get off of that if she kept staying in that area. She had to find a way to get off of the methadone program and get the fuck out of the place that she was at so she could make new contacts and not be living around the same people. And she ended up doing that after a number of years, and she finally got off of it. And her kids are doing better. And, you know, I mean, the problem is when you live a life like that is that you set up these years of after you want to be better, and you don't want to live a life like that anymore, that you still have to deal with the fucking repercussions. Like, even though you've decided to get clean, well, guess what? You had kids while you were doing all that shit. That's going to fucking bounce back on you. Guess what? You fucked over all these people that cared about you, and now you want to have a relationship with those people again. And now you have to try and rebuild all that fucking trust that you scammed and stole and lied your way out of and all of that shit. Yeah. Like, being a junkie is a hard fucking life the moment you don't want to be a junkie anymore. The moment you don't want to be a junkie anymore, you have to face up to all of those years of dirtbaggery. And the moment you have to face up to all those years of dirtbaggery, that's some hardcore shit as a human being to own up to, because you have to own all that shit. You have to see these people again. It's never like people do all this shit around people that don't care about them. Like, because how would they get the money to keep on being a fucking douchebag if they weren't scamming the people that fucking love them? Like, so, but yeah, more power to anybody that's trying to change their life on that one, man, because it's fucking hard. It's hard. It's painful. And if you can do it without a jail cell, man, you're a strong person. I mean, that's the reality of that. Raw Dog's I'm older than Raw Dog by 1 year now. I'm 43. I think I'm 43. Here's how I'll fix this, because I don't really pay attention to this shit. If I was born in 1977, how old am I today?
I don't know who you are, but you can tell me. In Siri settings, tap on My Info, and then choose yourself.
You know, always some fucking answer you didn't ask for. You ever notice that? Half the time you ask this damn thing for an answer, it gives you an answer you didn't ask about. I don't know who you are. That's not what I asked. I didn't ask who the fuck am I? Like, oh my God. Misty Epperson, do you think they would go after every citizen if we all got together and stopped funding them to screw us? Yes, that's specifically what the fucking United States Army is for. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, they'd come after all of us and they would say it was for a fucking tax code, the same tax code that they finally got fucking Al Capone on because they couldn't get him on any fucking thing else. It had to be on taxes. So even though we pay money to the Internal Revenue Service, and the Internal Revenue Service is run by the fucking God, now I'm having the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve is not actually a federal fucking entity. It's a private corporation owned by 6 fucking families. God, you're gonna get me to go off the deep end. So yeah, we'll all go to jail for owing a fucking federal corporation of 6 fucking families 35% on every dollar we use. Maybe that's the fucking short of that one. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't fucking vote. No offense, Raw Dog. You have to be better than the guy we got in office right now. You know, some people love him, some people hate him. I think he's just another bastard in the White House myself, to tell you the truth. At the end of it, I didn't fucking like Obama. I thought he was two-faced and making it seem like he was this progressive. He really fucking wasn't. He was an establishment asshole, and they've all been establishment assholes. And the last one that wasn't was assassinated. Obviously not just by one guy in a fucking book tower. It's not really a clock tower. It's a book tower, right? It was like a fucking library or some shit he shot JFK from, wasn't it? It was like a congressional library or something, wasn't it? The book depository. I knew it was something like that. I've seen enough of those damn videos, movies and shit. He's Raw Dog. He's sitting here stroking his AR, hooking up, holding his 45. Yeah, this is the guy we need for president. Have you heard some of the shit he said in our live streams? He's like, just grab the baby and beat it. Like,
I tell you. Yeah, don't we have a wonderful group of people?
yes, we actually do. There's only 11 of them left, but hey, we finally got down to the exact number of people we have likes. So we're at the right number now.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have a good group of people. I originally started this just to chat about rocks, though, and of course we started talking about current events and stuff like that. That's just the way it goes, though. We're all like fucking stuck in our houses, although I haven't been stuck in my house. I've been working my ass off the last 2 weeks, which is good until I started doing the math of what I'm actually getting paid, and then I took off what I'm going to owe the government, and I was like, oh shit, I've made nothing. I've literally made nothing. I've been making no fucking videos. I haven't been cutting any stones. I've been doing no live streams. So I have no extra money coming in on top of my nothing that I've been working for, although they have been feeding me breakfast. So
Well, it's a job. That's about all.
I honestly I love it. I really it's sad that I'm making actually pennies and I'm working at a fucking company that most people want to shoot themselves in the face the moment they got a job at this place, and especially for the amount of money I'm working for an hour. But I fucking missed interacting with people like this. I missed having a crew that I worked with that's all sort of focused on the same goal. I love to cook, and I'm cooking. And people, I end up getting okay, I'm not telling everybody where I'm working. You already know, D, but I'm not telling everybody else where I'm working, right? So this place is not known for having like the best food in the field of that they cook in. This store I'm working at has the best field in this food or any field of diner style food I've ever seen in my life consistently. Every cook that's cooking at this place, the food comes out looking freaking amazing. The eggs are always cooked to perfection. Like it's insane to me, and I like it because that's how I like to cook. Like I've always been sort of a Nazi about how my food comes out and stuff like that, especially when I started getting better at cooking as I started getting older. And this place, they put out phenomenal freaking food. They're like, especially in my area, they're like the gold standard of their type of store. And there's a lot of their types of stores in this area too. So much so that we've been training all kinds of new people because we have a store shut down because of COVID and stuff like that. So I've actually been enjoying it, even though I'm getting paid fucking nothing. And I've been talking to my manager about how to get me paid more faster. And I forgot. It's been so long since I worked for somebody else. It's been so long since I've done anything outside of like the family or YouTube videos or just trying to hustle up money, doing something with rocks or something like that. I forgot how good it feels when you have this just a little bit of security, knowing what you're going to be get for what you're doing before I did the math. Once I did the math, it didn't make me feel so good. I shouldn't have done the math. I should have waited like fucking 4 months and then did the math because it really did knock a big bit of the high off that I was having just from basically doing customer service and people pleasing and cooking food. But in general, I should have a damn diner. I guess that's the moral of this story. I should have been doing something with food a long time ago. I love cooking. I love working with food. I'm good in the more pressure, the better I do. Like that just tends to be how it is. When shit's falling apart, I do really good. People think I'm freaking out, but really I'm not. I'm just functioning fast and loud. Like a fucking Harley Davidson. Ricky says, Spence says, at least you guys have a sick sense of humor. I didn't think it was sick. I just thought it was funny. Like, I mean, although Rick and Morty is the dopest cartoon that's ever been made. If you haven't seen Rick and Morty, you need to get some mushrooms, eat some mushrooms, and then start watching season 1. Your mind's going to be fully blown. Like, Raw Dog Pendant said it's 29th birthday. Congratulations, you young bastard. I wish I was 29. Or are you one of those people that's like 58 and you're going to be 29 until you die? My mom was one of those people. My mom had her 29th and 30th birthday like over and over and over again. Her favorite saying that I can ever remember for her whole life was like 29 and feeling fine and here comes dirty 30. It's like her favorite thing to say. Being 22 was awesome. It was. I didn't think it was while it was happening, but now.
I tell you, well, Catfish, he's 60 in 4 days. He's more like my age.
Congratulations, Catfish. If I learned anything from the latest Jumanji movie, it's that growing old is a gift. Until I watched that movie, I never thought about it like that. And by the end of the movie, I was like, that motherfucker's right, which that motherfucker was Danny DeVito. But the moral of that whole movie was dead right. Like, only the lucky get to get old. Everybody else died along the way. So congratulations on making it to 60, buddy. Oh, Raw Dog said, no, I'm not turning 29 on May 29th. Like I said, he's probably 50 or 60 just because that's my demographic. Like I'm probably the only YouTuber that, well, probably not now, but I have a large demographic of people that are not young. I've been very proud of it for a long time because they're not children. If you would have talked to me not on this channel 2 years ago out in the desert, I would have been gloating about it. about my demographic. Because I one of the things I would be gloating about is the fact that most people that find me have heard about me on some way on like a Facebook thing or something, and then I turn them on to YouTube. So like the only thing they were watching on YouTube was me. So- yeah, Ricky Spence, you're right. Gallows humor is Ricky Spence says gallows humor is my coping skill with a bit of sour sarcasm thrown in. It seems to be that people that have been through traumatic experiences can laugh at the shit other people are horrified by. That sums me up in a nutshell. I can definitely see something funny, or I can at least giggle, even if it's not funny, about shit that's horrific in its own way. My Crystal Park, Montana video got you to sub. Well, I appreciate that, Raw Dog. That video, I tell you what, man, that place in Montana, most overburden I've ever had to deal with in my whole life in any one area. It's been crazy. I couldn't believe the piles of loose stuff from obviously other people digging. Whenever you go to a place that's like a public park like that that's not very big and you have to refill in your holes, I hate it. Because all that means is that I can't find somebody else's hole that's already dug 4 feet deep and dig another 4 feet. I have to dig 4 feet through somebody else's crap in order to get something down there, and it's aggravating to me. If it was like the wilds and wide open and stuff like that, it's one thing, but when you're talking about like a penned area where all types of people are digging and they're refilling everything in, so guaranteed you have to deal with like 4 feet. I wasn't prepared for that. That video could have been so much better if I would have found people that knew about that place before I went out there and I teamed up with people, because that's what you need at that place. You need a freaking team to go through the overburden before you get to the good stuff. No. You're welcome, Catfish. And what do you mean you stayed for 20, 25 years? What am I missing?
You were talking about staying 29 for forever.
He stayed 25 for 29 for 20 years. I get what you're saying. I got it now. Thanks for helping me understand. That's very helpful.
That's what I'm here for.
Right. Well, I mean, I initially planned on like calling 2 or 3 or 4 people by the time we got to like, close to 10 o'clock. But then I've put that call out there and I've said that a couple of times, yet nobody's been like, my Skype name is. So we just keep on going. And then, when I'm ready to quit, we'll quit. The reality is I actually have a video that I edited and I produced and I should have already gone and put up. But once again, I keep getting stuck on the minutia. There's something about it I don't like. And so I don't do the whole damn thing, regardless of the fact I spent 3 fucking days working on it. And so now if I don't do anything worth it, it's truly worthless. Whereas, every view is worth like 1/100 of a penny. So at least if I put it up and it got 200 views, it'd be worth 1 fucking cent, 1 red cent. But if I don't put it up at all, it's legitimately worthless. 3 days of work is fucking worthless. And yet I get stuck on these small little things like the latest video I went to upload. I went and sent myself out of my phone because I've started working in the good cameras again and trying to work with good audio and good cameras instead of just using the phone. And I should have been doing this a long time ago, and I'm kicking myself in the ass, so I start doing it. And so I get this video done about this $70 flex shaft I bought. I had ordered it before we repaired the flex shaft on the live stream. So I shoot the video, I edit the video, and then I go and I put my opening, the Can You Dig It 30-second montage I made like a year and a half ago or something like that. And I put that in there and I look at it on full screen in my fucking video editor and I realize it's one of the most pixelated, horrible when you're looking at it on a big screen. Like if somebody's watching this shit from their couch on a fucking TV, it is blurry. If you're watching it on a phone, it probably looks great. But if you're looking at it on a big screen, it looks like shit. And I was so upset, I stopped doing everything. I'm like, I have to re-edit this whole thing. I have to redo this, even if it's with brand new footage. The song can stay the same. The scratching, that can be fine. But the fucking video is horrible. I can't believe I've been using this shit for so long. How have I not made it better by now? What the fuck is wrong with me? Like, that's exactly my thought process. And I'm like, I can't put this shit out again. Look at how many times I've already put this piece of shit out. Everybody's looking at this piece of shit and I think it's good. What the fuck is wrong with me? Oh my God. And so that's why that other video hasn't been actually put out there, is because of a 30-second fucking clip that I plan on doing something about that my lazy ass has not done it about, because I've worked 6 days a week the last 2 weeks in a row. And guess what? For the third week, they put me on for 6 weeks again because I'm a great fucking underpaid employee. I'm a fucking beast and I work for cheap. Ricky Spence, go ahead. Are you sure? Maybe it's just I'll prove this shit. maybe it's just my computer. No. Otherwise I wouldn't be doing this shit we're doing right now. Maybe it's the quality. I know it's what it is. You really have you how big is your big screen? That's the proper question. What's the biggest screen you watch my videos on? What's the biggest screen? 13 inches? Because I mean, for a woman that's huge, for a man that's huge, but for a fucking screen that's not very big. That's a big fucking TV. Like, yeah, I've gone crazy, Ricky, haven't I? I'm saying fuck every other word, huh? I'm not worried about monetizing this, obviously. I didn't. At some point, I finally started accepting the fact that I should probably demonetize all of my videos. Because the amount of money I'm making off them doesn't make it worth doing them. I'm doing them just to do them. So I should start doing them to the best of my ability and not worry about what they're going to make, because I'm not making anything off them anyways.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a question. How is that, how is your clutch shaft working after you fixed it?
I haven't used it. I tested it. I tested it live when we put it back together, and it went woo woo. And I haven't fucking used it since. I've been cooking and I've been cleaning for 8 hours a day, and actually it's 7. Okay, here's how my day starts. Right, I get up. Typically, I've been getting up about 5:30. And then I've been taking a shower and I'm out the door by about 5:45 or 6. And then I walk 3 miles to work. And then I go to work, I eat my breakfast, and then I go and work, and I get off about 2:30. And then I either walk or get a ride home. And by the time I get home, I'm like, fuck this. I'm hurting. I wanted to work out after work, but I'm going to have to start getting up earlier and work out before work, because after I get done working, I'm not doing shit. And then I've been like flipping stuff and sweeping with brooms and like cleaning stuff. And I'm thinking about grinding a piece of stone, and I'm thinking about cutting a fire egg. And I'm like, I got no fucking patience. I have no patience for it. And I have every day is a good day at work. I have not had a bad day at work, because every day when I go to work, I just want to stay busy, because if I stay busy, then the day's over fast. And that's how I work. Just stay on task, do another task, get another task, find something else to do. And the waitresses that are there, they're like, okay, there's nobody here. I'm going to stand up against the wall. I'm like, fuck that. Then my day's slow. And then I'm like wanting to look at my phone, and I start getting in my head, and then everything sucks. And that's not how adults work. Adults don't work like that. Like, I just want my day to fly by. So I just stay on task and I work on this and that. And I keep going from one thing to another, and my day's over with. Like, I mean, it doesn't even feel like a couple of hours, and I've done 7 hours of work, because this place does 7-hour shifts. They have 3 7-hour shifts a day, and that's how their work goes. But they've been putting me, and I'm the only person besides management. Management are the only people that's been working as much as me since I got called back from my layoff from COVID. I've been getting 6 days of work for 2 weeks, and next week I work 6 days, 7-hour shifts again. and I should hate it because I'm getting paid fucking nothing. Like literally, training is minimum wage. 2 days a week, I'm hosting, which is like hostessing, which is like taking people their seats and shit like that, and orchestrating the front of the house. And I make fucking minimum wage when I'm doing that shit, but I don't hate it. Like I should, and I don't hate it. I actually like it. I like interacting with people. I like being. You know why? It's because of my fucking marriage. Because I spent so much time either in the wilds by myself or in this dysfunctional fucking relationship and just inside that house that I haven't had normal human interactions, which have nothing to do with fucking your relationship bullshit you have going on. Because I don't care who you are. If you've been together long enough, you have some bullshit. Even if you're a really great couple, you still have some bullshit. And there's none of that going on. And all of it is progressive. It's all meant to get something done. It's all meant to be helpful towards others. It's nothing is like a slight or a holding back or a trying to block somebody from accomplishing something. And so that after all of these years of sitting in the funky schwill of my marriage and the way that we treated each other and the way nothing ever got accomplished or finished or communicated appropriately. So now all of this feels good because so many years of that, I'm in a situation where most people fucking hate the fact they're cleaning the toilet or having to deal with this asshole that's pissed off about nothing. And I'm loving it. I'm lapping it up like a fucking dog in a bowl of milk or a cat, either one. But I'm just fucking drinking this shit up. Like I'm loving the interaction. It's a horrible job as far as most people are concerned, and I'm fucking eating it up. Like,
Well, there you go, Randy. We hadn't used it.
Ricky Spence says, you know you can change the aspect ratio, right? Yes. Being somebody that's been uploading videos on YouTube for a number of years yet, I know where to click in order to make it to where it's 1080p or 240 or 144 or 420. Yes. I don't think it's 420. It's 480. It's 480p and 720p. Yes, I do understand that, Ricky. Yet I'm 100% convinced that I'm going to change the screen. That's the only way to actually get this to work because I can't pull up the preview while I have all this other stuff going. And that's not what I meant to do. Let me go back. Let's see. How can I make this work? Add source. That's an idea. Let me see. Here it is right here. This is the original video I pulled off my phone. It's really small right now. It's not full screen. Let me see about making it full screen. Do you see how fucking blurry all that shit is? Like, I mean, you can make it out, but it's like you're making it out without your glasses on. Like the whole thing was just like that. Does anybody else pick that up, or do I need to try and rewind that shit, which I probably can't do? I think it just like plays through when you upload the media. And now it's stuck because I don't know how to play it or fast forward it or rewind it or any of that. It just plays once I put it in, and then that's the end of it. Here, let me remove it. But if anybody watched that thing play, that's the actual source file that I pulled off of my phone and I put on my computer. And when I saw it on full screen, like you just did after I made it full screen, I saw how blurry it was. And it's like I'm going through life without glasses anymore. And that's not cool. Like if you know what it's like to drive in your car and keep asking the guy next to you, hey, what's that street sign say? Hey, what's that street sign say? Hey, what's it? And then you put on glasses for the first time at 20 years, like, oh my God, I can see from so far. I haven't been able to see a street sign from that so far away for 20 years. Like, it sucks. You don't look at anything through, foggy lenses, oil-filled lenses. And that's what watching that video is like to me. It kicked me straight between the legs. It was like it was a true reality check. It was like and you thought this shit looked good. Like, it was not good at all. Not good at all.
Probably one of my favorite videos, just watching you.
What?
The one where you're trying to drag that cart, that wagon.
I still have that wagon. It's downstairs. I was just using it yesterday.
That was hilarious. You're dumbass. You really are.
No, you think that, right? And I thought that too. And even the people that were watching me pull it up, they sort of thought it too. But after I got that thing up as far as I did, and I carried the tools the rest of the way that I needed them, I imagined having to walk up and down that hill 6 times in order to carry each thing that was in that fucking cart. And yes, in fast play, the way it was on that video, it looked pretty hard. It was hard, but it wasn't walking back and forth 6 times hard. You know what I mean? At the same time, anything that looks good, that's real on content, I'm all for it. One of the things that pisses me off the most, which I talked about this with Jeff Williams on the podcast. One of the things that upsets me the most is never having a cameraman when I'm out in the wilds. So when I'm out in the wilds, I'm always recording everything myself. Everything has to be set up in order to be shot. The only thing that happens spontaneously is when I'm pulling gems out of the rock, because I'll literally put a camera on me for like 2 hours while I'm digging in hopes of getting some good video besides me just hitting rocks. And I know there's this amount of people that they don't want to see me talking about what happens. They just want to see a hammer or a pickaxe or a pick going into rocks for like all day. And they'll just watch chips of dust and shit flying. And that they don't want to hear me say anything. They just want to see that. That's a really fucking small group of people. Like, they're very loud, but it's a really small group of people. And I lost my train of thought talking about those people. If you can't tell, I've been drinking too. This right here, if you've never had this White Claw stuff, this hard seltzer they've been telling you about, this is how you make a toddler an alcoholic. This shit was made for a fucking 3-year-old. I could fill your bottle up and you would drink it and go to sleep and love it. It's literally, there's like, it doesn't taste like alcohol. Anyways, yeah, I totally lost my train of thought when I was talking about that. So, do you remember my point? No?
Well, I think your point had something to do with the video showing you real stuff. And you only...
Oh, I remember my point now. It was a good one too. Thank you. I needed you to bring me back to home. So one of the things I missed by not having a cameraman that really drove it home that I needed a cameraman was when I was up at the Opal Hill mine and I was digging for agate, and I had gotten the ATV. I'd gotten the ATV, and there was a time where I was dragging up the wagon wheel to be a table. It looks like a wagon wheel, but really it's a big spool for metal wire is what it is. And so I was dragging that thing up behind my ATV, and I had unhooked it, and I had no camera on. I had just turned the camera off, as a matter of fact, and I was walking down the hill, and I'd left my ATV up the hill, and I forgot to put the fucking parking brake on. and that thing went rolling down the hill directly for the ravine. It was rolling right for the fucking ravine, and I had to run towards it from a completely bad angle, catch it before it went over the ravine, jump in it, and hit the brake and stop it. And literally all that happened, and the back tire was like 3 feet from the end of the fucking ravine. And that was not on camera. And all I'm thinking is, I was willing to die to stop this fucking machine from going over the ravine, and nobody's going to see it on my channel. And I was so pissed. I was so angry that I literally risked my life over this $4,000 piece of shit. Like, because that's what I paid for. I paid $4,000 for the damn thing. And nobody's going to see the craziest, stupidest thing that's ever happened to me out there besides a guy flipping his fucking car, which they still didn't see that shit. They had to see the after effects and a story about it. Like, I had to talk about it. And nobody actually got to see the guy's car on fire or anything because I wasn't recording when that shit happened. Need a damn cameraman, because all of the really, really good shit, all of the shit that's like laughable, like hilarious, all of the stuff that's like death defying, holy crap, all the stuff I did that was really, really A-grade footage, nobody was there to fucking shoot it because it wasn't planned. Like, it was just shit that happened. It was bad mistakes. It was a stupid decision. It was, why the hell did we do that? That was not a good idea. And you never get that shit on video if you're recording by yourself. You have to have somebody that's like shooting all of the real stuff to catch those moments. You need a fucking cameraman, because the best shit is never caught when you're by yourself.
Oh, that's right.
Somebody, I think they said I sound like a prostitute on Craigslist. Obviously, you need to get a better class of prostitute, my friend. Yeah, Ricky Spence has worked at a diner before. If you have time to lean, you have time to clean. And I am the cleaner now because it makes my day go by. That is absolutely fact. I'm scrolling backwards. Apparently, there's been a lot of texting going on or chat going on while I've been ranting. Catfish Miller says, Kid Kaliko sounds like he works in the oil field. We all talk like that. I'm a stripper's brat. We move twice as much as any army brat, and for way worse reasons. So, yeah, I definitely have a mouth on me when I just let it go. Raw Dog says, I just want to see, doesn't have to be perfect, talking about how the video looks. Yeah, I agree, but you guys don't understand how good I thought that thing was. I thought it was so good. I spent so much time on making that when I made it, and I've been proud of it ever since I made it. And now I should just be proud of it for what it was and make something better now. The only problem is I have these great cameras and I'm not creating new digging videos with them. I'm creating videos about being inside a room like this. Like, you know, and it doesn't really equate to making the type of video that was. So I probably just need to suck it up, Buttercup, like the chick's shirt said today. Just suck it up, Buttercup, and just go ahead and post the videos. But I want things to be better than they were, and I feel like the channel is not getting better. You know what I mean? I feel like it's sort of just like stagnant right now. It's me doing my thing with the people that care, which is all the people that showed up tonight. And, you know, we probably got a few randoms, but the reality is that most of the people that's in this live stream have become friends of ours just through the chat. You know, like we have our connection just through the chat.
And we can all say that if COVID-19 did not happen, we probably wouldn't be friends.
We wouldn't be friends, me and you?
No, the whole crew.
Oh, I don't know about that. We were doing this before COVID-19, though. I mean, that's not really fair because we were doing the live streams before COVID-19. I mean,
but when we all first got stuck at home, I was begging you, please put something on so we can talk.
Yeah. But see, you say that, and I agree with what you're saying about what you're saying right there, but I still don't think that like COVID has much to do with it because we had some of our biggest live streams right before this whole COVID thing.
Yeah, that's true. We all kind of like each other before.
If anything, COVID really fucked me up because I had this expectation I was going to get this 6 weeks worth of $600 checks I never got. Like you wouldn't believe all the people I've talked to that have gotten their checks that they didn't qualify for the Florida unemployment, yet they got that damn government money and I didn't get any of it. I got denied every time I applied for it. It pisses me off. It would have really helped. I probably would have been able to buy the bus from my wife, and man, like, oh God, I need to get that thing off the ground. You want to talk about being able to dig and being able to like take some people, and like that bus is fucking awesome. It's big, it's awesome, it can eat up the road. Ricky Spence says, I made myself a valued enough person that I quickly didn't have to work those crappy shifts and positions. Believe it or not, I'm on the best shift. I'm on the most busy shift, the shift that gives the most business. And then I was talking to my manager today about how we can get me to the highest pay grade they have, which is not that high, to tell you the truth, but it's $5 more an hour than I'm making right. Well, actually, it's like $3 more than an hour that I'm making as a grill op right now. And they have like 300 stores that they haven't been able to open, and they're having problems with getting some of them open, and they're trying to train people to get them open. And so I was talking to him, and I was like, well, what you need to do is you need to get me trained on all the positions, on the serving position and the front position and the grill op position. So then you can push me out as a manager to one of these stores that's not open yet. And I can start getting real fucking money, you know, like yearly salary type money. He was like, no, I'm not pushing you out. I'm not having you go to one of these other stores where like great cooks go to die. I'm keeping you here with me. So the problem is I showed him the way I work, and I have a work ethic, and I want things to be done appropriately, and I want them to be done to the best of my ability. And so he's not going to let me fucking progress past his ass because of it. This is going to fucking gatekeep me. Like, this is bullshit. And that's not what I want. Like, I don't want to be your bitch. Like, what the fuck? Damn it, dude. You're not saying what you want an employer to say. You want them to say, hell yeah, I'm going to help you be a store manager someplace else in 6 months, because I totally have the ability. I just don't have the work background is the problem. That's the problem in my fucking criminal history is the problem too. And the problem is that on the criminal history thing, on paper, I'm way worse than I am in person. Like in real life, I'm just not the person I am on the, the legitimate paperwork. I'm sure there's a lot of people would say that, but I mean it.
Looks like
Oh, that's too bad. Randy Goldman says that Ohio got hit by a tornado. Good night, Raw Dog. Sleep well, man. Talk to you soon. We're probably only going to do this for a couple of minutes more anyways, because we're hitting my 10 o'clock time frame. And what we found out is that, we can just chat for 2 hours with one person. Apparently, I wasn't going to call anybody else. But if you would like me to contact you, if I do this again, if you'd like to be one of the people that is on the live stream and the live chat and the Skype calling thing that I'm doing right here, and we decide to do it again, hit me up on Facebook. Yep. Kaliko Wheels of Steel. You guys can find my name spelling somewhere. I'm the only one on Facebook at this point, because apparently the name I made up 20 years ago, like literally I made this shit up. It's a misspelled word with 2 other letters I stole from somebody else's name as like an homage that meant nothing to anybody but me, because nobody even understand it but me. And now apparently this is becoming a popular co-ed baby name. I saw it on a damn TV show. This blonde bitch on a TV show looks at the guy and says, what do you think of the name Calico or Calico? And I'm like, no fucking way. She's talking about naming their TV baby this shit. This is not happening. I made this up. It's a bad show too. It's not an intelligent show. Like, it's one of those shows that, like, I'll watch while I'm doing other shit because I don't want to pay attention to it. Because if I actually decide to watch this show and give it my full attention, I'm like, why am I watching this fucking idiocy? What is wrong with my head that I would actually be entertained by this fucking stupidity on this screen right now? Do you ever watch shows like that where you're like, this shit is beneath me? Like, I found a couple of them. One of them is on HBO, and it's called Cougar Town, and it is for fucking dummies. and I enjoy that shit. This show's for fucking morons, I swear to God. Yet I've watched every episode now. Like, yeah, Randy Goldman says 30 years wasted. Dude, that's how I feel about my marriage. That's exactly how I feel about it. I don't feel it's actually wasted because of my kids. Like, I'm fucking truly blessed when it comes to children. I'm amazed that my kids are so amazing coming out of this relationship that we've had all these years. I'm really fucking lucky on that one. And at the same time, when I look at my childhood and the adults that were above me, it's a really fucking low bar to be better than those people. Like, it's a really fucking low bar. It's like, oh, I'm not dressing my kids up like Boy Scouts and then using them to scam the neighbors. Like, I'm not stealing food from fast food restaurants. Like, I mean, fucking, I'm not teaching them to lie so I can go into businesses and steal shit from them, because that's the type of shit the generation did with me. Like, they used me to run scams on people and shit like that. So it's a really fucking low bar to be a pretty good parent with the generation behind me. And I look at my kids and they get these great fucking grades and they're all pretty well balanced. And I mean, like, I'm really blessed when it comes to children. So if anything, I would not trade this marriage because of the kids I have from it. It's just like I'm really lucky on that one, because I've seen some people that have tried to be really good parents and they have some really bad fucking kids. So I'm really lucky. Something about I can do it in a video editing program. Oh yeah. Yeah. I need to, I need more footage. That's the thing. I need use my good cameras and get more footage. I need more footage. Oh, and the pre-trial release thing. These fucking assholes expect me to go and do an anger management class in person with fucking groups of people with all this social distancing shit going on. They won't even fucking meet me at their fucking office. I have to stand outside in line and give them my paperwork, and they expect me to go and do a sit-down fucking class. What is wrong with this fucking judicial system? I'm doing that shit online. If they're not going to accept it, then they're just going to have to fucking, we're going back trial. Like, that's all that shit is. Because I'm not, with my great aunt, my great uncle being their ages and already having pulmonary issues, I'm not going to a group of anything. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I think COVID is a real thing. Like, you know, I think there are people out there that are fucking dying. Just to be clear, like, I'm not trying to bring that shit in my house at all. Although I've already accepted I'm going to get that because I work at a fucking restaurant where like 75% of the people that come in are true blue Southern rednecks, and they don't believe in this shit at all. This shit's fake news. If you don't live in New York City, you ain't gonna get it. That's the way they feel about it. I'm going through the chat. I figure we're about to close it down. You looking through the chat too?
Yeah.
Well, we've held pretty steady to 11 people for like 45 minutes. Our high was 18, but our thumbprint went up from 11 when I said that earlier to 16. So we've had some transfers in and out.
Well, that's a good thing.
Hey, I just wanted to let people know that I didn't forget about them and I wasn't abandoning them. I was just being selfish. That's why you guys haven't seen nothing from me. I'm being a selfish prick. I'm like, I don't want to do that right now, and so I'm not doing that right now. And that's all that's been going on. Like, I didn't want anybody to be like, well, Kaliko hasn't posted anything in 3 months. That fucker must be in jail. Oh, he let his old lady piss him off and he probably fought a cop. We're not going to see that dude for years. Like, yeah, forget hunting for gems and minerals. He's just trying to get away. Like, yeah. Gary B. Nevada says, congrats on getting Jeff Williams. Dude, I had a great conversation with Jeff Williams. You guys are going to love it. Here's the only thing I would say in critique of these episodes I've recorded with other people on the for the Talking Rocks podcast. I lose myself sometimes, and I talk too much. Specifically, there is a gentleman, the Arkansas Diamond Miner. You guys are gonna love this guy's YouTube channel. My conversation with him when I was editing it, I was like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, why are you talking so much? Kaliko, shut the fuck up. Like, ask him a question. Let him talk. Will you shut up, please? Like, I was pissed. I was pissed at myself the whole time I was editing it. I was like, okay. So I did this to have an interview with that guy, and I fucking interviewed myself. That's what happened. I fucked this whole thing up. So I want to have another interview with him because the Jeff Williams interview went really well. And I was definitely focused on Jeff. And for some reason, with this other guy who's not near as big of a YouTuber, he's a much smaller YouTuber than me, but you guys are going to love his content. I found his content. I appreciate his content. His content reminds me of my content. I knew my viewers are going to like it. So I contacted him. He did an interview with me. And then I fucking talk too much. You guys don't believe that at all, do you? I don't fucking talk too much at all, ever. I'm a quiet person. So, yeah. Tomorrow, I'm going to try and get that up. I'm going to try and have at least a clip of it on the YouTube channel. And I'm going to finish I'm probably gonna leave the opening in there and just edit it again because it's stupid. Me being like, oh, well, I've used this thing like 50 times before now, and now I'm not gonna use it because it's not good enough anymore. It's fucking, it's in its own right. It's dumb as shit. Yet at the same time, if you thought you looked like Gwen Stefani your whole life, and then you're like 50. And you finally see a mirror for the first time and you realize you're one of the ugly fucking stepsisters. Like, you're not going to want to look at the fucking mirror again. You're like, break that shit. Like, I don't ever want to see that mirror again. That mirror is fucked up because I'm beautiful. Damn it. Like, that's exactly. And that was my reaction to seeing that video in all of its real glory for the first time, seeing it on a big screen. I was like, oh my God, I'm ugly. Fuck. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a horrible analogy because there's some ugly person out there is going, yeah, you can say this shit because you didn't have to grow up like me. I had my own troubles. I promise you. Fucking, it's a horrible analogy. I get that. Yet it's there. So, like, I should have used the word fat because then more people would be pissed at me. Like, I'd have the PC culture like, he's fat shaming. Like, Catfish, I have been wearing a mask, buddy. Unfortunately, at work, though, I can't wear my really good mask because when I go to Walmart, I put on my P100 mask and I'm like walking through the sounding like Darth Vader and shit. I got my big mask on. I'm the only one that wears one of those masks. I've met one other guy that wears a mask like mine, and his has the paint ring still on it. You can tell he uses his for work. Mine's a newer one. I leave my rock one here in the shop. But I have been wearing a mask, but it doesn't matter. Not just have I been wearing a mask, but I use bleach and I'm washing my hands religiously, but it doesn't matter. It's in our society. Dude, people we know are going to die. That's just the reality of this right here and right now. America has decided that commerce matters more, that not getting handouts by the government, which I'm not on the fence either way about this. I don't care right. I don't care left. If they give me money, good, I'm happy. If they don't, oh well, I'll find a way to fucking survive. I've been doing it my whole life. I'll sell y'all some rocks. Y'all got rocks for sale. Good rocks, high quality rocks. You know you want some of them rocks. Like it's like a play on crack rocks, get it? Yet I don't care either way about the money that the government is going to give me. It's helpful if it comes. It's helpful if it's not. Yet I talked to one of my best friends who happens to be one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. I rarely see this man make a decision that doesn't turn out to be awesome. Like he's a very intelligent person. And he told me 3 months ago, it's too late. Like, it's too late. People aren't going to stand for this very long. Like, we just have to admit that there's people are going to die. And his son is a susceptible person that if they get this, they will probably not survive. His son has pulmonary issues. And I didn't believe it then. I thought he was being hype. I thought he had too much hyperbole in the way he was stating things, that it wasn't over yet. Like, we could still sort of slow this down and stop it, and vaccine and blah, blah. Bullshit. He was right. I'm absolutely firmly on his side now, that since America has decided to open up and that commerce matters more, that there are just people that are going to die from this, and there's pretty much nothing we can do about it, because it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before you touch your nose, or you touch your eyes, or you touch your mouth, and you're not paying attention. It's only a matter of time before it goes from the big city to the small city. And pretty much what we're doing now is we're trying to make it to where the hospitals are not overrun. Because this thing is a real thing. And although 2% doesn't sound like much of a percentage, when you take 2% of your population in whatever area you live in and you make all of it sick at one time, your hospital cannot fucking handle it. And that's where the big problem comes in. So it's not about if it's that bad or not. It's not about if only 2% of the population is only a few million people when we have 300 million. So let's say we have 350 million people in America. We're talking about 7 million people dying. We're talking about 7 million people. When you're talking about 300 million, that's not that many. Yes, but if you have all of those people get sick at the same time, then the hospitals can't handle it, and more people die, and people that weren't supposed to die, that don't have COVID, die from other random shit, and blah, 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 and it just goes compounding, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm on his side. I don't think there's anything I'm going to do to stop anything from happening now. I'm going to play the game the way society dictates. Society dictates masks right now. I am totally fine with that. I'm totally good with that. If I go to a Walmart, I have a bottle of hand sanitizer in my back pocket. I wear the average mask or my good mask or whatever. And then when I touch something that other people are touching, I use some hand sanitizer. Yet we are in a situation now where people have decided that our way of life is extremely important and they don't want to sacrifice that anymore. And I'm not really arguing with them because I'm 50-50 on it. I really am. Like, I sort of agree and I sort of don't. Like, people's lives matter to me. At the same time, I don't want my shit to change too much either. Like, you know what I mean? I want my internet. I want my coffee. I wish I was smoking weed, but I'm not. Like, you know, I agree with people. I wish life was going to be the same way it used to be 8 months ago. I don't think it is going to, and I think we're going to have a lot of people get sick, and I think that a lot of hospitals are going to get overrun, and I think a lot of people are going to be saying, in a year from now, I think a lot of people are going to be saying, I didn't believe it was going to be this bad. I think that's what we're going to get, yet such is life. My life has not been a cakewalk. Your life has probably not been a cakewalk, and until we're the ones in the hospital beds, we're going to play it to the hilt because Americans are fucking gamblers, man. We just are. Like, we're willing to take that risk. So here we are. Like,
That's true. It's like you said, the 7 million people doesn't sound like so much until one of them is somebody you love.
that's when people are going to be upset. Like, I mean, that's when it's going to matter. That's when the person who's the hardcore righty that just believes it's a complete and total hoax and we need to get out there because commerce matters, and the person that's a super lefty, like, that's when it's really going to matter to them, when it hits them at home, when somebody they know dies, when it stops being a demographic that's happening in another city and it starts being somebody that they care about. That's when, in their mind, it's going to change, and it's going to be too fucking late. Because I mean, that's just what I believe. Now it's already too late. I don't even want to pretend like we're talking about later. Now it's already too late. Like, it's already too late. This is going to get out. People are going to fucking die. So just be prepared and hope it's not you. And start running some laps. Start doing some push-ups. Stop eating so much junk food. Stop smoking cigarettes if you can, because all of that shit's going to help you be stronger. Yet at the same time, if you haven't seen the picture of that fucking buff-ass bald nurse that was like 260 pounds, like just fucking beefcake with his bald head taking that cell phone picture, and then 29 days in ICU because he got COVID. Have you seen that picture of this guy with the bald head and the beard? Dude, he went from looking like a fucking WWE wrestler to looking like a fucking crackhead. Like, that's exactly what he looks like. He's like buff and big, giant muscles, and then he's like sickly and hangdog face, and fuck, I can't believe I look like this because he spent 30 days in the ICU from having this shit. Old, young, infirm, not, it's going to affect all of us, and we're just going to have to. Humans are resilient motherfuckers that can get used to anything given enough time. I found this out when I did my first prison sentence. I got into too many fights. They locked me up in a solitary cell for 90 fucking days. For 90 days, I didn't see another human being except for the guard that would give me baking soda to brush my teeth with, and would literally, this is how it happened every day. He'd come up to my cell and he'd go like this. He'd take a roll of toilet paper and he'd walk up to the cell and he'd go 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your toilet paper for the day. And that was my interaction with a human every day for 90 days. Was here's a little thing of powder, and here's your toilet paper for the day. And every day that was my only interaction for 90 fucking days. And I came this close to literally losing my fucking mind. Obviously, I'm a little bit weird, but I came this close to losing my mind. And when I got out of that situation, that 90 days in that solitary cell, what I found out is that humans can deal with almost any situation given enough time. Given enough time, we can get used to almost anything. Like, it doesn't matter how horrible it seems. If you're not going to die, it will become normal to you given enough fucking time. Misty says, good night. Everybody else knows I've been trying to wrap this up, but I'm a blabbermouth. Gary Beeman Nevada said, congrats on getting Jeff Williams. Any luck on getting Shannon Poe? I was having problems with my internet, and I've been working nonstop. I do want to get Shannon Poe. I actually haven't contacted him yet, and they've been having a lot of issues lately with a lot of different state organizations. I haven't even contacted Shannon yet, and I need to tell you the truth. Him and a couple other people, but I had my interview set up with Lapidary Dave, and I fucking canceled on him over and over again for different reasons. And so I really need to get Lapidary Dave and do my interview with him first. Yet there's aspects of my podcast I feel like is missing. Like, if I just put it up right now, it's basically just the conversation. There's no produced by, there's no people that helped create, there's no supporter information, there's no commercial information, there's nothing. It's just the conversation. And so I've been on the fence over trying to give it those small production tweaks and those small things that give it that professional sound when it's over, or the professional opening. And I've been trying to find music to add, and the music thing's been driving me crazy, man. Like, it all sounds like shit. It's all bad. When it all feels bad, I don't want to do anything with it. And after a period of time of so many hours and days of bad, I stop. And that's where I've been at again. And I have to put something out. I honestly think that I'm at the point to where I've ran my head into the same wall of my own bullshit so much that I just need to go ahead and put it out the way it is. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I think I'm going to do with Jeff Williams. Is I don't think I'm going to add any more production value to it. I don't think I'm going to add any music to it. I don't think I'm going to add any intros, outros, thank yous, anything like that now, just because everything I've tried to produce has been so bad. I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with it in any way, shape, or form. So I will put that out tomorrow. I do believe I'll be putting the Jeff Williams thing out tomorrow. Tomorrow's my only day off in 21 days. I don't know what to think about that. I like it and I don't. I do. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you staying on with me for 2 hours. I'm surprised your phone didn't die or start beeping at you, D.
That's okay. I had it fully charged.
Good. I definitely needed the co-hosting. Like I bullshit most of the time and I can ramble, but if I don't have somebody to bounce off at least a little bit, it's like I bounce off of the chat. And I really appreciate you doing this call with me. And I'm sure other people that have become friends of yours in the chat line are happy to see your face for the first time. And I'm sort of surprised you didn't get photobombed by your son. Obviously, your son's not in the house today at all.
I sent him home. No.
You can watch it. You told me you can watch it, didn't you? That's funny. I honestly expected him to be popping in every now and then and stuff when I first set this up with you. Have a good night, Gary B. Thanks for being interested, man.
I think he would have, but I locked the door.
Well, that's good too, because then you're not like distracted and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But this has been fun.
Yep. I honestly, talking is my third favorite pastime. Although I've been saying that for years and I don't smoke pot anymore. So maybe it's become my second favorite pastime right behind sex. Because before it was smoking pot, having sex, and talking. That was like, that was the order too. So I'll do my best to get that podcast posted tomorrow, and I'll start posting clips because one of the things I want to do is I want to draw people from this channel over to the podcast channel or over to them downloading the podcast from one of the podcast servers. So I'm going to do that. At the same time, see, one of the things I meant to talk to you about is my Patreon, because I set this Patreon up and I looked at other people's Patreons, and instead I set it up with this 4-tier thing. And then I saw Jeff Williams's Patreon, and he just does a single, is it $10? I think it's either $5 or $10, and it's just a single payer. Everybody gets the same things. And then I wanted to talk to you. Maybe I'll do that next time we do this or something, because I haven't wanted to. I have the information in the podcast that I did it, but I haven't actually wanted to make the thing actually live, because now I'm questioning having the tiers and being able to do things for people that are on Patreon and actually making things happen. Because one of the things I hated about the last time I did Patreon is that it was specifically set up to fund digging videos. And then at some point I wasn't digging anymore, and I wasn't going to be able to dig in the near future. And I was still doing the Patreon, and I still felt like I needed the money, but I didn't feel like I was actually giving people what they signed up for. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that guy. Like, I'm not trying to charge people for something that they didn't actually come to get, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to sell you fucking milk when you want eggs. Like, you know? So I'm sort of torn about the Patreon thing, but I think that's my conundrum at this point. I'm torn on everything. I can't make a fucking decision and stick with it. Well, everybody's saying goodnight, and I think it's probably time for me to sign off too. Once again, thank you for being here, D. I appreciated having the call with you and the chat that everybody could see, and I'm actually surprised that the live stream works so good. Good night, Catfish. I did too. Good night, Catfish, and good night, all the other 7 people that are here. And thank you for the 18 thumbs up. The community night might not be big, but it's still really cool. So I love y'all for watching. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for being here, D, and thanks for doing this with me so I could put some sort of content up. And I plan on doing some more, but yeah, I'm going to do some more. I'm going to stop being a lazy bastard. And even when I don't want to come here and cut some stones and maybe put it on live, I'm going to go ahead and do that, because I got to get back in the groove, tell you what.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Bye, guys. Bye, D.